Well, Lynnie Nielsen and her mother, Fran Vessels, have a terrifying story to tell. Fran's arm was shattered when her husband shot her from across the dining room table. Lynnie Nielsen, Fran's daughter, was 7 years old when that happened. She was in the bathtub when the shot rang out and says that night molded her life. Your mother survived. Her mother did not.
Right.
But that night molded your life because?
My life began that night. It was the first memory that I ever had from the time I was 7 when it happened, and for next years after that, I tried to remember anything before my life that night, and I couldn't remember. My mother, the shot rang out in the dining room. I was one wall away in the bathtub, and I heard my mother running up down the hall saying, "Go get the bolts," and when I came out, my little sister and I got out of the bathtub and walked into the hallway, and we felt something. We both looked down, and our toes were wiggling in my mother's blood.
Whoa.
And I turned to look to the left, and there was my mother. She had gone to the hearth to hold her crucifix, and my father was holding the gun very stiff, saying, "Get out of the way. I'm going to kill your mother, and you kids are going to an orphanage, and I'm going to jail for 10 years. And my sister, my 9-year-old sister, stood in front of the gun at like 3 inches down the barrel of the gun and screamed, "No." She wouldn't get out of the way, and he kept saying, "Get out of the way. I'm going to kill your mother. You kids are going to an orphanage, and I'm going to jail for 10 years. And my mother was crotched and bleeding to death. He'd already shot her once with a shotgun through the arm and the middle of her body, so her clothes were shred. And finally, they screamed this back and forth and back and forth.
Your
and my
sister and your father?
Yeah. My little sister and I were standing there screaming, like our faces were at each other, just screaming bloody murder in each other's faces. Just going, "Ah!" And my sister, back and forth, they went. Finally, my older sister said, she leaned up the gun, and she finally was exhausted from the anger, and she said, "I used to love you, but look what you've done to my mommy. Now I hate you. Look what you've done."
Is that what stopped him?
He instantly, like you see on television all the time, the glaze that goes off people's faces, he just went.
When we come back, if you are parents and you're fighting at home, we'll tell you what you're doing to your child.